Well, good morning. I'm Dr. Martin Krautter, preaching from Grace Baptist Church. We're experiencing beautiful weather out here in Montana. So if you want to take a vacation, now's the time. Come to church on Sunday and have fellowship with us. It'll be the highlight of your week. And then visit the historical sites. We have the oldest ranch in Montana right across the street that's now a national park called the Grand Cours Ranch. And it's you can go hiking on it and have a beautiful day, and it's just great. Well, today is Sunday, September 29th. And last night I was doing a devotional at the house, and somehow I got mixed up. I thought it was July 28th, and now we're in September. So July, and this is August, and we're in September 29th. Power through prayer. And on the Sabbath we went out of the city by a riverside where prayer was wont to be made. And that's in Acts 16:31. So in this, our devotional, we can see the power of prayer. And whenever my wife and I go out and door to door to visit, and I talk to somebody on their doorstep, I talk and she prays every time, all the time. And when she's praying for the conversation, every time without fail, it's like 100% of the time, the person's locked on me, they listen, they don't dismiss me right away, they hear the gospel, they might not receive the Lord, but at least they lock on me and listen. And so prayer's a great thing. We prayed for Joe. We prayed for the service today, and we'll pray again for the service, and then when Noelle plays her harp at a service, I sit in the pew and I pray. And every time she plays, there's greater conviction, and the people enjoy her music more because I'm in the pew praying. And so you have to know that is true 100% of the time. There hasn't been one time where she's played that I haven't prayed where there hasn't been conviction in the auditorium. There was an American preacher who went to London to pastor. He pastored there for several years. On the first day he preached there, he noticed that God had really placed his power upon him, that he had been anointed and given great power in the pulpit, more so than ever before when he spoke. Several years later, he was called to the bedside of an old man with a weak voice. That old man said, "Pastor, I do not tell you this for any other reason, but that hopefully someone will pick up where I left off. The first night that you came to our town, God moved on my heart, and I spent that Saturday night, all night, without sleep in prayer, praying for the power of God on your ministry. Every single Saturday night since you came here, I have stayed up all night and pleaded and begged God in prayer for God's power to be upon you and for God to use you." The old man with a weak voice breathed out his last few breaths. He said, "I hope somebody will take up the work of intercession." That preacher realized that the great power that he experienced in the pulpit was not because of his dynamic personality, nor was it because of his greatness, but because there was somebody pouring out his heart to God faithfully for God's power upon his life and ministry. How important is it for us to be praying people? Are you? Will you pray? And so if that's the way it worked for that preacher, he had great power in his prayer life because the person was praying for him. And so pray for your missionaries. Pray for the pastor that's preaching. Pray that God's ministry and his power will be upon the person. The Apostle Paul talked about when he would talk, he says he didn't talk with man's wisdom, but in demonstration of the Spirit and of power. And it's because God's Spirit was upon him that it was powerful. So keep these spiritual principles in mind because they are very important. Okay, well that's our devotional for this morning. While we have a minute, let's go ahead and read Ephesians chapter 2. And that will just That'll conclude our devotional time. Let's just read Ephesians chapter 2. Galatians, Ephesians.